Hi guys, welcome back to Rustic and Lace DIY. My name is Brenda for those of you that are new here, and if you're just stopping by, well, since you're here, you might as well hit that subscribe button as well as the like button and the notification bell. That way you're notified as soon as I upload a new video. I am so excited to share with you guys today's video. A couple weeks ago, I watched a mystery box hop that was hosted by Sammy at Unicorn Dust Designs. If you don't know who she is an amazing crafter. I will put a link to that video in my description box below. And basically what it was is she and a few other crafters sent each other a mystery box that had 7 to 10 Dollar Tree items in it, and they had to use all of those items to create their videos. And it was a lot of fun to watch. And if you watched it and you commented on each video, then you were put into a drawing for your own mystery box. And I am so excited to say that I got to be one of those winners. So on today's video, I'm going to do a few of my projects with a few of those items, and I will let you know when I'm creating those, which ones they are. So if you're excited to see what I got, I'm really excited to show you what I got. So let's get going. Okay, so here is our first project. So I started with using this wall decal I got from the Dollar Tree, a piece of foam board, some Jenga blocks, and these 3 mountain looking pictures that I got from the Dollar Tree as well. And I started out by using my Cricut weeding tool to loosen that saying off of the paper, and it came off pretty easily. And this paper, I ripped this paper off. It comes off pretty easy in big strips. My intention was I was going to paint that part of the sign, but the paper left the backing of the paper, it was still stuck on there, and I do try to sand it off to see if I could get it to come off, but it just wasn't coming off, and I was afraid if I painted over it, you would still see the little fibers from it. So I ended up, as you can see right there, I'm just kind of looking at it thinking, I don't know if that's going to work. So I did use my heat gun as well to take off the stickers that were on the back, and I sanded the stickiness of that off. Then I took my little screwdriver set, and I'm going to take off the hangers that are on the back. This is where I decided I was just going to go ahead and use the back part of those signs as my front. So after I got all those hangers off, I went ahead with the spackling compound stuff, and I'm just filling in the holes there so that way it doesn't show up once we paint it all. And so once I get those all on all 3 of the boards, I just do a light sanding to just make it even, and then I have the mineral chalk paint in Waverly, and I was almost out, so I was trying to get it all out of my bottle and put it on the foam board, and it just didn't want to come out, so I had to dig for a paintbrush to dig it all out. But one thing when painting foam board, you want to make sure you're not doing tons of paint on there, because I did this a while ago, and it causes, if you have too much paint on it, it will cause the foam to become distorted. So you just want to make sure it's a lighter layer. So I just paint this all with that gray, and I do end up painting the ends. Now, I found out just recently after I did this that if you use a sharp razor blade, it will cut that foam board really smoothly and not leave any jagged edges. Unfortunately, this was a piece of board that I had previously, so it did have jagged edges. So you'll see here later I wasn't happy with the jagged edges, so I ended up putting some string around it. So here I'm just taking those Jenga blocks, and I am painting each one of those that same color because I don't want it to be very noticeable. And then once I got I did 3 of those, but I ended up only using 2. So once I got those painted, then I was waiting for that foam board to dry. It does take a little bit, so I got my heat gun, and I'm drying out this. Now, this heat gun I have had for many years. I bought it 30-some years ago when I was into doing rubber stamping, and I bought it from, I think, Stampin' Up, I think is where I got it. I don't know if they still have that or not, but I know you can find heat guns like that on Amazon. So once it was all dry, I got my paint, I think is what I'm going to do next. No, I was looking at the placement, I believe, is what I'm doing here. I'm trying to figure out, oh, I guess not, boy. Okay, so I got that Waverly chalk paint in the color Elephant, and I'm painting each one of those. I call them mountains. I know they're just triangles, but to me they look like mountains. So I'm painting each one of those with that chalk paint. And I just thought when I saw these, I couldn't wait to get them. And you know, when you're at Dollar Tree, it's hard sometimes. Some Dollar Trees have stuff and some don't. But I had this wall decal that says faith can move mountains. And when I saw these, I saw someone post these things, I thought that would be perfect to use for that wall decal. So that's what this decal says. So here I'm just taking this saying off, and I'm going to put it on that foam board that I had cut out. And it fit perfectly. I was really excited that I didn't have to do any cutting because that foam board was the perfect size. So I'm just smoothing it out here. And I am going to take some of that mineral paint, mineral is the color, and I am brushing it along the sign so that it's not as shiny. Although when I took the pictures, I can still kind of see the outline, so I might try and go over it a little bit more here when we're done with this. But I just do a little dry brushing with that, and then I add some of the elephant onto the foam board to do some distressing, and then of course I add a little bit more of that mineral over that as well. Then I take some white chalk paint, and I am just, with a stencil brush, I am just dabbing it all on the top so it looks like snowy mountains, and then I'm taking some of the mineral color and I'm just putting it on the bottom to give it kind of a shadowy effect. And then once I was done with that, this is where I'm placing it together and figuring out the placement of it so that I can glue it. And so then I take my E6000 for that permanent hold, and then I take my super glue, or hot glue, I'm sorry, for immediate hold, and I put it on both ends and I attach it. Then I'm figuring out where I want to put those little blocks, so I put each one, hot glue it to the back of the foam board, and then I'm going to hot glue those little blocks to that sign because the middle part sticks out, so I needed to lift the sign on the ends a little bit so that they would not be flimsy. So then once I got that done, that's where I just was not happy with the way the edge of the board, or the foam board, looks. So I took this little clip and I clipped on some twine, and I have the white, and I have a gray and white and a black, and I am just making a simple braid. Now this felt like it took forever. I was so tired of that clip moving around, I finally clipped it onto a basket that I had, and that helped me keep it straight so that I could braid a little easier. But here I'm just twisting the end, and I hot glue it, and then I'm just going to hot glue this braid all around the edge of this foam board. And I have to tell you, I had measured it out. I thought I had measured it out, but I was not paying attention to the fact that when you braid it, you're going to shorten it. And as I'm hot gluing it, I get almost, more than 3/4 of the way done, and I ran out. So I had to cut another piece and braid some more and then add that in there. And because you could tell where the two where they were joining at the top, it was kind of awkward. So I did end up making a little bow out of those 3 pieces of twine and hot glued that bow right there where they had joined, and I thought it still looked pretty cute. But if you use a sharp knife, or razor blade, you might have good finished ends where you wouldn't have to cover that up. So here, right there, is where I run out of braid there. So I was laughing at myself, I guess you could say, after I was frustrated. Anyways, it is what it is. It's a learning process, right? So I'm just finishing up that last braid and getting that all glued on. And I guess I'm taking my own sweet time here. Okay, so let's hurry it up here, girl. Okay, so once I was done with that, I had turned over the back and realized, oh, it's got some paint splotches. So of course we don't want to have it uneven or looking yucky. So I just went ahead and put some of that elephant chalk paint on the back and painted that just to give it a more finished look there. You never know, someone might go and look behind it. Okay, so once I get done with that, then I had made, at Christmas time, I had made some gifts with some picture frames that I didn't need the backs of the frames, and this turned out perfect. I think these were the 3x5 size. I had some of these, and I hot glued them onto the back of that because I didn't want this to be a hanging sign, and it stands up perfectly. I was so excited about it. So here I take some a white paint pen, and I just outline the snow a little bit more, and there's the finished product. So here's the next item. So I got this from Kirkland's, and I'm taking 4 of these, no, I'm sorry, I think it's 6 of those square dowels that, I'm sorry, I'm moving too fast or talking too slow, one or the other. Anyways, I used a plastic bottom part of like a wine glass, the plastic wine glasses, and I also used some faux leather ribbon that I had received from that mystery box. I was so excited to see it because I've had a hard time finding the faux leather ribbon at Dollar Tree. I've only found a few, so I was really excited about the gray. I love the gray. So here I am taking those dowels, and I painted 4 of them white, and I painted like a quarter of it white, half of it white. I just did 4 different amounts of white on each dowel. And then I painted, and here I am cutting out 2 dowels to be half the size, and then I keep 2 dowels that are longer. Now what I originally did is I cut them, the dowels were about 12 inches, so I cut the 2 at 6 inches, but when I was starting to put it together, it was too big, so I cut the longer dowels down to 8 and the smaller ones down to 4 inches. So then I took 2 of the smaller dowels and painted them white, and 2 of them I painted gray, and then I painted 1 large gray one and a large white dowel. And that's what I'm doing right there, is I'm painting the large one gray. And one of the gray is going to be on the bottom, and the white is going to be on the top of the lantern that I'm making. So once I got done doing that, I take that plastic bottom from that plastic cup, and I am painting the inside and the outside with gray. And I'm actually not using mineral this time. I found another one called Steel with Waverly, and I really like the steel color better. That mineral is a little more beigey. This one is gray, so I really like that color. So that's the color I'm using. So here I'm just putting some painter's tape around the edge where the white tape ends, just because I'm such a messy person, as you can tell with my messy workstation there. When it comes to painting, I get paint everywhere. So I'm just putting that tape on there so that I don't get tape on the white. And then I'm going to paint the rest of those dowels. Underneath each white portion, I'm going to paint it with that steel color. And I love the way this turned out. I love the colors, and I think it's very, very pretty, and I can't wait to display it in my home. So here I am, I think, just touching up on some of the white. I put it in a jar to stand up, and when I put the gray in there, it kind of knocked them over and got gray on them, so I had to touch them up a little. So here I'm taking the tape off and just doing a little touch up where they needed it, and then once I get done doing that, I started to put it together, and that's when I realized it was just too big, so I ended up cutting them into smaller pieces. Now the side dowels I did not cut down. I just cut the top and the bottom, and this is where I'm measuring. I'm trying to see where the middle part is, and now you can see the sticks are shorter because that's where I cut them. So then I just took some hot glue, and I am hot gluing these sticks onto, so 2 of the small ones onto the large one on the side, making like a cross, and then I hot glue each stick at the end of each one of those dowels. Now, it seemed to work okay. After I took pictures of these, I can see where the hot glue is trying to pull away. So I'm probably going to go ahead and take that hot glue off and use some super glue, and then use my husband's accelerant that dries in like 10 seconds. That stuff really bonds things well, so I'm probably going to have to use that. So I would recommend, I used hot glue because of a time factor. If you're going to do this, I would recommend either super glue or E6000 or something that has a little harder hold. So then I used some hot glue to glue on that little round piece from the plastic cup, and that's going to be our candle holder. And then here I am hot gluing the top dowels, which are white, to the top. So I'm just using that longer dowel to put on the top of the longer dowel that's on the bottom. And then I'm going to hot glue the smaller dowels from the other dowels that are upward to the top. And I'm really sorry about the angle of this, guys. I was trying a new angle. I thought this was going to be great, but I do not like this angle at all, and so I'll probably do something a little different again. I think my camera kind of switched positions sometimes. You know how the camera, when you're on vertical, it will move back and forth, and I think it did that because there's a few clips here that I've seen that look great, and then it goes back to one that I'm not very happy with, but we'll get it figured out. So here I'm just getting it all hot glued on, and I'm just kind of playing with it because it was looking a little crooked, a little lopsided, so I'm just kind of moving it around and playing with it. So then I take this faux leather and I just cut a piece off, and I took a thumbtack. See, I love this view. I don't know what was wrong with the phone or camera the other way. Anyways, I took it and I'm just going to tack it on. Now, I was playing around with this because it wouldn't stand up like in the picture. So what I end up doing, I don't show this, but what I end up doing is I untack it and I wrap the bottom. I actually glue one piece of the bottom of that ribbon to the bottom part of those dowels. And then I looped it over the other end over and hot glued it onto the other end. And then I was able to put the tack in between the two pieces and then tack that down, if that makes sense. So it does stick up now, and I think it looks much better. But here I was playing around with it, and then of course my dowel became unglued, so I had to re-glue it. It was a challenge, but I figured it out. Like I said, I think I'm going to go back over it and just use some super glue. I think that's going to help it much better. Then I'm just opening this candle that I got from Dollar Tree, and that was it. So then on to the next one. And these are items I got from the mystery box. Not the stencil, but the cutting board I got in the box, and so was that house I got from the box, and as well as those stickers. And that paper that I just showed I got from Dollar Tree, but I was so excited about that house. I have been looking for those houses forever, and when I opened up that box and saw that house was in there, I was doing a happy dance. I was so excited. So here I just sanded off that vinyl because it's got a smooth finish on it, so I just wanted to rough it up a little. And then I am painting it with my Waverly white chalk paint. And I just give it a really good coat because I really didn't want the brown to show through. I do want to do some distressing on it, but I'm going to use the gray instead. So I think I might have done a couple of coats actually on it. And I do the sides and the front, and I do later on go and do the back. And so then I take these little beads that I got. It's a brain teaser game that you can find at Dollar Tree. It took me a while to find those too. And I'm painting each one white, and here I'm just like, that's not working so well. So I grabbed a dowel or a skewer stick, and I'm painting it, but they were moving around on me, and I was trying to get the bottom, and it kept moving up. So I finally wised up and decided to, oh, hey, I'll just take it off the dowel and just do that bottom part and then use the dowel to kind of hold it in place while I paint the bottoms. So finally got it to work, but I think I did have to put a couple coats on this just because it is kind of awkward trying to paint those. So once I got those all painted, there, see, I was using the dowel, or I guess it's a skewer, not a dowel. I grabbed that house and I go ahead and I paint that as well. And since I've done this, I was watching a video after I had done this and noticed that the back of those houses actually pop out pretty easy. I didn't even try. I wish I would have. It would have made putting the paper on in the middle a lot easier, but I made it work. So I went ahead and I painted all the outside and the inside with white, and I do some distressing with some gray on it, but unfortunately my battery on my phone was dying and I didn't realize it. Normally I plug it in when I'm recording and I didn't, and so I lost some of the footage. So what I do here is I do cut out a piece of paper to fit inside that house, and I didn't even have to hot glue it in because it was so tight in there. It fit perfectly. So I did that, and then let's see. Oh, I'm going to take this heart off of this sign, and I use my Cricut spatula to just kind of push that heart off, and I'm going to paint it with that steel color gray. And I did have to put like 3 coats of paint on this just because of the word on there. It was showing through, so I had to paint it, I think it was like 3 coats just to cover that up. So then once that was all dried, and I had the paper that I got from Hobby Lobby inside the house, then I used some pop-up double-sided little circles to put that onto the back, and then I added a word that says home from the rub-on transfers that I got from my mystery shop box, along with some rub-on transfer leaves. And then here I did a stencil with the gray there, and I absolutely love this. I think it came out so pretty. And then now I'm just distressing with some gray around the edge, and then I'm going to distress the middle, and then I'm going to go over it a little bit with some of the white too. But I absolutely love the way this turned out. I am so excited about it. I don't know. I don't know how to say it, but I just love it. I just think it's so pretty, and I love the stencil. I don't know. I can't say enough about it. I hope you like it too. So there is where I'm just doing the distressing. Then I go ahead and hot glue those beads down. They're going to be the feet of my little riser that I'm creating. And once I get those all hot glued, I do some distressing on those feet as well. So I'm using that steel gray, and I like a little distressing. I'm not one that loves a lot of distressing. So I felt like I got a little heavy-handed with the distressing here. So I did take some white paint and go over that as well to kind of help smooth it a little bit, and so that it's not so rough looking to me. So then once I got that all done, I of course let it dry a little bit. I might have even used my heat gun. But that is pretty much it for that board. And I just can't say enough how much I might have to make me another one. I just really love that. So here is the house. I did paint the back of the house, and it was taking forever to dry, so I used my heat gun again to just kind of dry it. And I'll tell you, that thing gets really hot, and so it does dry quickly. So you can kind of see there, here I'm touching up, I got a little paint on the side there. But you could see what the heart looked like. Then I took some eucalyptus, I think it was, that I had, and some little baby's breath, and I just got a twisty tie, and I twist them all together here, and I just kind of played around with them and mixed them together. And once I have that all together, then I'm going to also grab, there's me grabbing my twisty tie. I am gonna grab some ribbon that I got from the Dollar Tree. It's this, Farmhouse ribbon. It's just white. It's kind of off-white with black stripes. And I really love this ribbon. I think it's really pretty. So I'm just making a regular bow, not a finger bow, just a standard shoelace bow. and I trimmed the end, and I'm going to hot glue that to the middle of my eucalyptus leaves. And then once I am done with that, I will hot glue it and put it inside the house right underneath that heart. And I absolutely love this too. This whole project that I'm doing, I absolutely love. So there, I'm just having to trim off the legs of that ribbon because they were still a little long. And then I take my lighter and you just lightly go over the end of the ribbon, and you can see it and just melt the ends a little bit, and then that way it won't shed. That's not the word I'm looking for. Ravel. It won't come unraveled. So then after I put that on the riser, I thought it still needs something more. So I took one of these little candle holders that I had gotten from the Dollar Tree a while back, and I just paint it white all the way around with my Waverly white chalk paint. And I paint the inside of the rim and everything, even that gold or the silver rim, I put the white chalk paint on. And then once I get that done, I dry it, because of course you want it to be dry. And then I take that that steel color Waverly chalk paint, and I am just brushing that all around too. And I didn't want to put a real heavy coat because I do want some of that white to show through. So when I got done with this, I thought I still want a little bit more white. So I do take a chip brush, and this chip brush I ordered from plaid.com. Plaid makes folk art and apple barrel and stuff, and I just love them. They're so little and cute. But I'm just dabbing on some more white all around just to kind of bring out that white. And then I just put some eucalyptus leaves in it, and those projects are done. And I love them so much, and I am so excited about this week's projects. For me, I just think they're beautiful, and they all turned out great, and I can't wait to display them in my home. Okay, here is the final reveal of this week's projects. Let me know in the comment box below what you liked, what was your favorite, and don't forget to check out the link for Sammy's video of the mystery box hop. They had some amazing crafts there. And stay tuned for next week. I'm going to do some thrift store repurposing, and I'm excited to show you those projects. And have a great week. And thank you so much for staying tuned. I appreciate you all. Bye-bye.